Well, hello, everybody. Gracious good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Ken Krell, and welcome to the Blog Systems Workshop 3 preview session with Dr. Gina Gaudio-Graves and a band of renown. We are so excited to have you guys with us. Gina, how are you today?
I am fantastic, but I am not the only one here, and I want to make sure that we properly announce our special guest today.
I was leaving that for you because I wasn't sure whether he was going to be in stealth mode today or whether we were going to be announcing him. So this is fantastic.
I would much rather not have him in stealth mode if he's here. Oh my goodness, it's happy for me.
It's happy for me too, and he's being very quiet at the moment, and that's probably because of the last time I introduced him was he's now legendary. And we never did clarify exactly on the last presentation we did with him. We never actually did tell his real story, so people still think that he's a high school jock that took all the girls from me. So I think it's kind of a great introduction.
Well, his name is Jack Humphrey, and Jack is my partner in Vortex University. He is also someone that Ken and I are just getting started working with, absolutely loving having him joining us, and I am thrilled to have him here today. Hello, Mr. Jack Humphrey.
Hi. I just went to get a banana. I'm so glad I got back just in time to say hi.
And I'm glad you're happy to see us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the Boost Your Practice DU welcome aboard clap, the virtual clap, to everyone here for today. Woohoo! This is Diana was reminding me, Gina, that we did not begin with our obligatory clap, but we are there. We go. Diana's clapping.
Oh, Diana, so. I am so sorry. We are just scrambling this morning, aren't we, Ken?
We are. You know, this is a transparent relationship here, and we have been putting things together. There are a lot of surprises for you today, and for us. And we're thrilled to have you. We decided only just the other day that we wanted to begin our preview sessions this week, and we've been making some tremendous changes and enhancements, and I decided earlier today, why don't we add one extra bonus today? So we threw that in, and I discovered that the sales page that bonus was originally sold on no longer exists. So we somehow it vanished.
Details, details. What can I say?
Yeah. So but I had already committed myself to offering this bonus. So anyway, we're all good. Everything's fabulous, and you're going to be experiencing the reality of what this is all about. Because the key to everything that we're going to be doing today, is based upon one big word. Gina, what's that word?
Relationship.
That's right, the big R. And the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is that the relationship that you have with your customer and the relationship that they have with you is what's going to translate directly into the relationship that you have with your bank account. So as we begin our relationship today, this evening, this morning, wherever you are in the world, we're beginning this relationship in complete transparency. Gina has one part of the presentation. I have another part of the presentation. I didn't know Jack was going to be here tonight. I'm thrilled that you are, sir. So this is going to be a bunch of fun, and that's how every part of our relationships should be. Do we agree? You guys can participate here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so what I want to ask you guys to do is to fully play with us today. The chat box, the question box is your place to communicate with us. Let us know any questions you have, any comments. If we ask you questions, we hope that you will participate. This is not the Gina, Jack, and Ken show. This is your show. And we're dedicated today to give you as much information as we can and invite you to the workshop, because you are going to love what you're about to hear. I can guarantee you that you are going to be blown away by what Gina has in store for you today as she created the curriculum for this day's event. So are you ready, my love?
I am.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you my friend, my partner, and the JV queen, the dean of Directions University, Dr. Gina Gaudio-Graves. Woohoo!
Thank you so much, Ken.
I love doing that.
Today as Ken said, today we're really going to be talking about relationship marketing. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is really the relationship marketing system. But most of you are out there going, what the hell is relationship marketing? What does that mean? Well, to translate it, it really means blogging, but in a very, very specific way. This is a blogging system that is unlike anything you've ever heard, probably, unless you've been in Ken's and my world for a while. This blogging system is really the key to getting top search engine rankings that not only bring you tons of traffic, but more importantly, bring you traffic that converts into sales, converts into subscribers, traffic that really starts off your relationship so that you can really not just get people who buy from you once, but get people who buy from you over and over again and who have been transformed in such significant ways that when they talk about themselves, they can't help but bring up your name. And to understand the system and the impact this system will have on your business, it will probably be much more helpful if you understand the three trainers on today's call. So Ken, why don't we start with you and have you share a little bit about who is Ken Krell?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Thanks, Gina. What's important to you guys is the fact that I've been in your shoes. The who is Ken Krell question is always one that I wonder about because, you know, I began my business career struggling. I began my business career with very little money. I began my business career in my early 20s going through a bankruptcy. I began my business career by making bad decisions. And what's important that you know is that when we are faced with challenges, the question is, what do you do about the challenge? Do you let it keep you down or do you go on with it? So I show you pictures right now that demonstrate a little bit of courage. On the right-hand side, riding a 200-mile bike ride for the Emory Vaccine Center to help them raise money for an AIDS vaccine. To deciding to hang out with a real human-eating tiger in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And the picture of me in the water, it demonstrates exactly what you do when adversity hits, and that is you just go out and play. Earlier that day, I was on a motorbike accident and destroyed my back. I mean, I could barely move, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. So the who is Ken Krell, I'm a marketing strategist. I take complicated issues and situations and turn them into simple, actionable strategies that you can put into place in your business immediately. I take people that are challenged and don't see where they are going in their business, in their career, where they're jumbled up, and make things clear for them and help give them direction, and then find ways for them to seize the opportunity in their businesses. That's what I do for a business, and I do it all over the world. Right now I live in Thailand. On my list of places to live are other exotic parts of the world like New Zealand and Argentina and so on. And I encourage you to think about how you can do the same thing for you. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you so much, Ken. And I'm going to try and give you guys the short version of my story, but it's going to take me a couple minutes so that you can better understand why the message I have for you today is so important. I didn't start out knowing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, a coach, or even a mentor. Back in the 90s, I was an attorney, and I went to law school because my passion is teaching. And I knew that law school teachers, law school professors, were the highest paid teachers around. So I went to law school as a means to an end. A couple weeks after I'd gotten accepted to teach at my alma mater, the University of Notre Dame Law School, I got into a very serious car accident. And that car accident left me in a hospital bed and wheelchair for almost 10 years. During that time, I had about $9.9 million worth of medical bills, and I needed $40,000 a month in medication to keep me alive. So I turned to the internet as a way to grow a business just so that I had a way to pay for my $40,000 a month in medication. I had probably one of the first couple hundred membership sites on the internet in late 96, early 97. And my business was in the day trading arena. I really started figuring out what entrepreneurship was about and what to do to build a business online through that membership site. Well, things were going very well with that site fairly quickly because I figured out how to tap into the resources that other people had to help me get my members. Within a few months of opening the doors, we had our cap of 500 members, and it stayed at 500 members on an ongoing basis. We had a waiting list the entire time I owned it. But by 2001, my health had declined so much that I couldn't keep up with the content creation for the site. So I sold that business to a member, went on to have my second business. Now, my second business is really where I perfected some of the systems that I teach, including the blogging/relationship building system you're going to hear about today. That second business was what I thought was going to be an internet ad agency. I knew something about internet advertising at that point. I knew quite a bit about traffic and a lot about conversions. So I figured that might be easier because I didn't have to have this content creation constantly. Well, within a few months, people started asking me for something I hadn't anticipated, something they were calling joint venture traffic. Didn't know what that meant, but I was a lawyer. I knew what a joint venture was, and I was an ad agency. I knew what traffic was, so I decided I'd do what I'd done many go out and research and see if I could figure it out. And I very quickly started to see that what they were really wanting was what today is called a joint venture broker or a JV broker. These were people who had products and services. They wanted them to get sold in bigger numbers, and they were looking for people with websites that had good traffic, that had lists of subscribers and customers that would be willing to promote the products and services so that they could get a commission from it, and my client would get more sales. So I started doing this. One by one, people started coming to me over and over again, asking me to help them with this. And I thought this was going to be a really great idea for building my business because I'm thinking JV brokers get paid a percentage of sales. If I'm going to put together a product launch that makes $1 million, I'm going to make a nice sum of money from that. I'm going to charge between 10% and 20%. So that one promotion could net me $100,000 to $200,000. If I just did one every 60 days, I had the $40,000 a month that I needed for my medication. Only that's not exactly how it works. I'd go out, I'd find the people that had the lists, that had the traffic, I'd put them together with the people that had the products, that had the sites, that had the sales stuff on it, and I'd wait for stuff to happen and wait for my big payday. Only it was kind of like a crapshoot. I could have done just as well at the casino. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes it brought traffic, but didn't make any sales. Sometimes it brought very little sales, but made a whole bunch of money. And it made me start wondering, what could I do that could ensure that I made my $40,000 a month, no matter what, month in and month out. As long as I did the work that needed to be done, it was going to happen. And that's when I started crafting the system that I teach today. So between 2001, 2005, that's what I really spent my time doing. I've worked with some of the biggest gurus in the internet marketing field. They're former clients of mine. People like Russell Brunson, Mike Filsaime, Willie Crawford, big names today. I did many of their very first product launches for. And so many of my product launches were successful that I really didn't have to advertise my services as a JV broker. People called me the JV Queen, and people found me through word of mouth, through what today I call raving evangelists. But what made my promotions work so well was the fact that I was really able to master traffic and conversion. I was really much more of a marketing consultant than I was a JV broker. But that's another story completely. By 2005, I wasn't having any trouble making money. Almost every promotion, as long as my clients listened and did what I asked, they were going to make money, and so was I. But in January of 2005, things changed again. That month was when I learned that I had just 12 to 18 months to live. My husband and I went home from the doctor's office that night, shocked by the news. I knew I was sick, but I didn't know I was dying. And we talked about what did I want in the next 12 to 18 months. And together we decided that I wanted to see the country before it was time to die. So he went out and found an RV that he could retrofit with my hospital bed and my oxygen and my IV poles. And we hit the road within a couple of weeks, thinking that we'd have 8 to 10 months to see the country before it would be time to come home and die. My business was portable. I could do that no matter where I was. So it seemed like that was going to work. But 6 months into the trip, it was the week of my 41st birthday. And as I had done every single week, I would take my own blood, I'd draw it, we'd take it to a hospital wherever we happened to be, they'd do the test and send the results back to my doctors. But that week I had 3 different blood tests taken to 3 different hospitals, and all 3 came back with test results that I didn't even know were possible. All 3 said, this patient is clinically dead. That's how sick I was at that point. So needless to say, as I was celebrating my 41st birthday that year, we're starting to think maybe we won't have the full 8 to 10 months that we originally had planned for. My husband wanted me to have the best last birthday that I could. So he took me to see a massage therapist in Sedona, Arizona, where we were that week. He wheels me in and he gets me up on our table. She looks at me and she says, you know, you don't have to die as soon as you think. I'm kind of chuckling inside, wondering what she's going to try and sell me and how much it's going to cost, because I figured she'd be no different than everybody else I had met. But it turned out she was very different. During that massage, she went on to explain that if I could just remove the negativity from my life, I didn't have to die as soon as I thought. And I proudly told her, oh, I'm probably one of the most positive people you'll ever meet. I don't have an issue with negativity in my life. She kind of shook her head. She's like, well, if all you've got is a positive mental attitude, it's probably not going to be enough to save your life. So then I was confused. What the heck is she trying to say? I don't get it. So I asked a bunch of questions, and we talked about it that whole massage. And she asked if I used visualization. And I again proudly stood up, oh, absolutely. I'm a JV broker. Some of my clients have been the biggest experts in the world dealing with visualizations. She said, that's wonderful. Explain your visualization. I said, well, I see myself as I am. I'm sick, I'm dying, I'm bald, I've got tubes sticking out of me, I'm in a wheelchair. And I imagine what it would be like to get up out of that wheelchair, have my tubes fall off, my hair come back in, and all of a sudden I look happy and healthy and young again. And I imagine what it's like to be walking and dancing. And this time she's shaking her head. I'm like, what's the matter? She looks at me and she says, how do you expect to start at a negative place and have a positive result? That was a really good question. I didn't know how I expected to do that. I'd never really thought about it until she asked the question. So she says, what if you could find a way to use visualization where you could start at a positive place and get to an even more positive place? Like, yeah, that's a good idea, but how the heck do you do that? So the whole second half of the massage was all about her explaining what that could look like and how I might be able to look at my situation differently, to use visualization at a positive place to get a more positive result. And I left her office very empowered, really wondering if she might not have something that might be really important to me. So I decided, as I had done so many times, I'd go out and research it. Couldn't hurt to research it. I didn't have a lot to lose by then. Well, over the next 4.5 months, I researched this message as much as I could, and I applied as much of it as I could possibly do. And very quickly, big changes started to happen. I stopped 42 pills per day, 4 continuous IVs per day. I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to walking with no assistance at all, even though to this day I have no feeling in my legs or feet. I simply balance by feeling the ground in my hips. And it only took 4.5 short months to go from almost being dead to being 100% well. And it's what today I call my miraculous transformation. And it has made me look at everything different, both life and business. By that point, I had paid off a little over $6 million hard cash in medical bills. And while I'd made a lot of money for myself and my clients, I really hadn't done much of anything at all to make a difference. And I felt like I'd been given such a gigantic gift that I absolutely had to repay it. So I decided that I would close the doors to my consulting business and open the doors to what today I call Directions University. It's a program that really helps entrepreneurs in 4 areas. Entrepreneurs get direction for both their life and their business. They learn how to give direction to their prospects and customers. And in the end, my goal is to help them impact the direction of the world. And so the system that you're learning about today is one that's very much tied up into the lessons I learned back then. It's not just a system that's going to make you some money, although it absolutely can and will make you money. It's a system that both makes you money and allows you to make a difference, doing it in a way that really lets you live your purpose, follow your passion. And it is such a unique system that it's not often that I find people who really get it, who really understand it enough to teach it. And I am so blessed here today to have both my friend and partner Ken Krell and my friend and partner Jack Humphrey, because Jack is definitely somebody, and so is Ken, who gets it. Both Ken and Jack really know that it's not enough to go out and just want to make a bunch of money. You can do that all day long, but the money stays small unless you're both making a difference and making money at the same time. So Jack, why don't you introduce yourself? I was able to get your slide in here while I was talking. He wasn't expecting this.
Hey, look, it's me.
It's you.
Wow, I got to figure out what I said on this slide before. Oh, good.
I'm pulling it all up to make it easy.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks you guys for having me. This is great. I guess you have me here because I know a couple of things about blogs and relationships.
Just a few.
Yeah, a little bit. I've been doing this for quite a while, and doing it with all the changes that have been going on with the web, and you know, I was on before there was this social thing, and actually before that all started, I was the founder of blogsuccess.com, and it was basically a membership site, still is. I've since sold it to my partner, but we taught people all the time about relationship marketing and you know, how important that was, and we were trying to take an entire group of people in the internet marketing community who had formerly done quite a bit what we would consider today anonymously. Their sites, their offers, their content, it was all a nameless, faceless kind of thing, and as everyone knows today, the web is much, much different, and people have lots of choices, and they are choosing to go with people who have names and faces, and the ability to make them feel like there's a need for a relationship, there's a need to engage with this person, this authority on something, whatever that might be, and this is industry agnostic. It doesn't matter really what it is. I just got off a call with a client who is a property management company in Denver, and one of the biggest things that I noted about him was he was like everybody else in that industry, and it was just kind of, his site was a brochure site. And even though he has a blog on it and everything, it's not there's nothing there that's making a connection. There's nothing there that's doing relationship stuff. So I was, you know, telling him how a picture would tell 1,000 words about him and make him totally stand out among all of his competitors, because they're all doing the same thing. They're throwing up basically brochures and not doing any of the stuff that that we're being taught these days and for the last couple of years about social and building relationships. You guys have seen how people will do online, you know, as far as their competition who don't do relationship stuff. The most popular people out there on any topic that you follow are the ones that engage, the ones that that build relationships and build trust and rapport through their great content. So yeah, we've been doing this for a long, long time, and just always watching the web to see what people are in the mood for and what they, you know, from a publisher's perspective, us, and from a customer or prospective customer's perspective, and it's all leaning toward this. So this is one of the most important things that anybody could be learning right now, and I have a lot to contribute to that. You can read through the thing there. I've done lots of different courses. My latest book is called Bending the Web, and it talks about relationship marketing on a level that really leverages a lot of opportunities and forgets about all the small stuff. Just go straight to where you want to go, in front of the audience that you want to be in front of, and do that engagement, and how to use your blog to reinforce that once you've gotten them back to your blog. All kinds of different tactics like that that kind of skip over most of the marketing 101 stuff that's online that will take quite a long time for anybody to get going. And we like to skip over all of that stuff and just get there. So that's what, in a nutshell, I've been working on and what I'm about.
Well, thank you for that. And you know, the three of us really have a unique perspective on building businesses. One thing that the three of us know is that mindset really is everything. You really can get the mindset piece right and do everything else wrong. You can do your blogging the wrong way and your social media the wrong way and set up your products the wrong way, and you can still have huge results. But the opposite is also true. Get the mindset piece wrong, do everything else perfectly, and 9 times out of 10, you are left empty-handed. So as we talk about blogging today, keep in mind that mindset is critical to your success with blogging. We also know how important goal setting is. You've often heard people talk about building your business strategically. What they mean is use a very unique goal-setting system to grow your business. You've got to start with the end in mind, and you've got to plan out where you want to go. Where do you want your business and your life to be in the next 1 to 3 years? The more detailed you can be in outlining what you really want, the easier it is to work your way backward, asking yourself, if that's really what I want, what do I need to have in order to get that? And doing that one baby step at a time, working your way backwards from where you want to be to where you're at right now, crafts an amazing strategic plan that can't fail. It is by design going to allow you to succeed on purpose, not by accident, as many of the so-called gurus have done. And probably one of the most important lessons that the three of us know is that if you can see it and believe it, you absolutely can achieve it. Napoleon Hill said it best when he said, "What the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind of man can achieve." And it is so, so true. The only time the three of us struggle in getting the results we want is when we're not really clear on what we want in the first place, when we don't really see it, or God forbid, when we think that, well, that's easy for so-and-so, but man, I don't know if I can do it. Worst thing you can do to yourself, right, Jack?
Oh, yeah.
So keep these three unique perspectives in mind as we start talking about blogging. Success starts right here, right now. You need to be thinking about things like, what will you achieve? What is your vision? You and your business are two parts of one whole. You can't really separate them. If you tried, you might grow a business, but it won't be your business. You want to really look at what you want for yourself, for your family, your friends, for your prospects, your customers, and even what you want for the world in figuring out what your destination is. Thinking about what you want 1 to 3 years from now. The more you think about it from all of those perspectives, not just, well, what are my goals for my business, the easier it will be to build the plan that will get you there. And it's really a 3-step process. It starts with outlining your goals. Second step, plan your approach. Third step is implement your plan. More often than not, we talk about that third piece, implementing your plan. And we just kind of brush over the outlining your plan, the planning your approach, and we just jump right into implementation. But that's the part that causes businesses to fail. If you jump in with, okay, so what's my first step? What's my second step? What's my third step? Instead of, what's my last step? What's my second to the last step? What's my third to the last step? Do it the first way. What is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? It doesn't have any clear destination. It might drive you traffic. It might even get you some subscribers. But I don't think there is any person on this call today who wants to just get traffic or just get subscribers. What is it you guys really want? Type it into the question so I can see. Do you want traffic? Do you want subscribers? Or do you really want a business that's successful, that could allow you to make money in your sleep? Or do you really want a business that can both make you money and change the world? What do you guys really want? Ken, everybody's being quiet.
I know. Okay, Joseph says financial security while helping others, and yes, both.
Yes, both.
I think people are being overwhelmed by the obvious. Okay,
Carol says everything.
Exactly. Here we go. Here's Ed. Did you say abusiveness, Ed? What is that? Oh, a business. A business. A business.
Make money and change the world.
Okay. Okay, Judy, you're in with your real name today. I'm confused. Business that serves people having the best life possible and giving a 7-figure income. I like that. Oh, 7-figure lifestyle, excuse me. Dana says, make monkeys. Oh, make money and change the world to help people. Great. And Kay, good to see you. Amazing business that runs in my sleep while helping others relax and enjoy themselves and their families in a beautiful place. Love it. Well, how do we do this,
As
Gina?
I thought.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the beautiful part. In today's world, the key to growing a business and making a difference is to really understand the role that search engines play in your business. Search engine ranking today is no longer optional. It is critical. Most people who are looking for stuff, they're looking for information, not stuff to buy. And it used to be that people would not really have a lot of choices. Back in the 80s, the early 90s, who could they turn to when they wanted information, when they wanted help solving problems? Well, they could ask a teacher, a family member, a friend, even an acquaintance. They might be able to ask a religious leader. They might ask trusted professionals like accountants and lawyers and doctors. But we didn't have what we have today. Something called Google, something called Yahoo, something called Bing. Today, the information and the solutions to problems that people are looking for are at their fingertips. All they've got to do is grab their cell phone, their iPad, their computer, and ask, and the answers magically show up in front of them. That means that you need to be perceived as the solution provider, as the person that has the information that can help people to solve their problems, not as the person that has stuff for them to buy. And it's not enough to just have a ranking on Google or a ranking on Yahoo. Over 75% of the searchers never scroll past the first page of search results. So you've got to be on the first page of Google. But if all you have is a #1 ranking on Google, you will absolutely drive traffic. You will absolutely not get conversions to happen. To get conversions to happen requires that you do what I like to call dominating the search results. And what that really means is that You need multiple entries in the first several pages of search results. It's not enough to just have one. But it can be really hard to get one first page entry, let alone many different entries in the first several pages. The way that you do that is to use blogging and to really use content marketing combined with social media as the vehicle for populating all of those search results. Content marketing plus search plus social is really success for a business today. Social media and search and blogging really require so many different things. Inbound links to your site or backlinks, PageRank. PageRank is a Google measure that tells Google whether they think of your business as an authority in its field or maybe just a not so much of an authority. You need to be perceived as that authority both in Google's eyes and in the eyes of your prospects and searchers. And the system we're teaching you today is one that's really going to help you do all of that. The key to dominating, instead of just getting one high search engine ranking, is to understand that searchers and all people have different learning styles. Some people want to read, some people want to watch, some people want to listen, others want to look at a pretty picture. More often than not, marketers do different things in different formats. Sometimes they'll write an article like 17 Tips to a Happier Life. Sometimes they'll create a little video, 18 Tips to Happiness. But they're not the same content. If you're doing some things in video and some things in audio and some things in text and some things in pictures, you're making your life very difficult. And it's going to prevent you from truly dominating the search results. Google really gets the intention of its searchers. They study it. They study it in a massive level. And they know that different searchers want different things. Some people want the audio, some people want the video, some people want the article, some people want an infographic. So if you can create small amounts of content and then turn the content into many different creative formats, you really help Google serve their searchers better. And the best part is they reward you for that by having every one of your formats show up in the search results. Usually, someone who has all 4 creative formats is going to have 4 entries on the first page of Google, because you're likely to be the only one in your field who's putting content out in many different creative formats instead of creating one piece of content in one format and a different piece of content in another format. So everything you learn today, know that implied within it is this idea of using multiple creative formats for everything that you do. WordPress is the platform that you want to use to deliver all of these creative formats to the world. And blogs, which means WordPress in my world, are so important. And I'm going to bring Jack in on this one with me, so I'm just loading up the whole slide so you can see what I've got up here. Jack, you and I both really agree on this one. Without WordPress and blogging, it's really tough to get to dominate the search results. But what are some of the other reasons that people want to build their sites using WordPress?
Ease of use. A lot of people end up getting bogged down if they're not using something that they can immediately go to market with, go to publish with. So it needs to be something, and a lot of people will say, well, I'm starting a business, I'm doing this, whatever it takes. It doesn't mean that you have to suffer needlessly. So in order to not suffer needlessly, using WordPress is going to be the best bet, because it also is a combination of easy to use, and there are thousands of developers out there. It's open source, meaning that anybody can develop a plugin, what they call a plugin for it, that can do just about anything. In fact, if you want your site to do something, there's probably a plugin already developed that's very, very close or exactly what you want it to do, just because it's powers 17% of the web, which is huge, and it's the only single, that's the biggest chunk of, content management system market share that there is on the web. 17%, I think, was the last, and it's growing all the time. So WordPress is used widely. It's accepted by Google very well as far as how it's set up and how you set it up to be found on search. Oh, and Gina, I got one more graphic that you need to put in one of the previous slides. It was a quote that you liked before. The best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Google.
It's true. That is the best place to hide a dead body.
So make sure
Nobody
you get that
will ever
graphic
find
put
it.
together.
Yeah, but guys, I got to stop you for a second, because I just don't think you're being fair at all, and I don't think you're telling the truth here, and I think you really need to disclose how expensive WordPress really is, because not everybody can afford WordPress, and you're really not being fair by not telling the whole story.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
it comes with a big price tag.
Yeah, WordPress is.
No, Jack, I can't even tell him. You tell him.
For all of the capabilities that it's got, this thing, you need Jack. Just tell them the truth, please. I mean, they deserve it.
Yeah, it's free.
Exactly. WordPress.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so well understood by Google. That can't be overstated. It's Google knows exactly what to do with one of those sites. Therefore, we know exactly what we need to do as publishers with a little rule set of how to basically optimize your site and think about what Google is looking for when it wants to put. It wants to put you in the top 10, in the top 5 preferably, for a helpful piece of content or something that you want out there that's going to help people. And the key word is helping people. That's where WordPress started, blogging started, was people putting things out there with the intent to market something later, but by first leading with being extremely helpful, extremely good resource for people who are looking to solve a problem, get information, whatever it is in your market. Yeah, and the people who have gone on. Another point, Gina, to your earlier point about having a plan and all of those things. I know it's a little bit off topic, but I just wanted to make sure I got this in there too, which is you'll see a lot of people say, like Darren Rouse from ProBlogger.net. He'll tell his story, and he started being successful as a blogger without there being an industry at all around it. And he was chided by his fellow bloggers back in the day when people would not look happily upon advertising or selling stuff from their blog. They thought that was disingenuous to put marketing into it. That's where blogging has come from. That's where it started. And of course now everybody's got advertising, or everybody's trying to do something once they found out you could monetize it. And Rouse will tell his story and say that a lot of the things that he did were by accident. And now people are realizing that, well, that's okay for him, but that's not okay for the average person, and that the average person needs a plan. And only the people who have succeeded after Darren Rouse and the other accidental entrepreneurs, bloggers turned entrepreneur, and very, very successful, they've needed a plan, and most of them have failed because they did not have one. And so I wanted to get that in too. It's there's a lot of examples out there, but relative to the number of people who want to turn relationship marketing and blogging into a very, very strong source of their financial security, sales, leads, whatever it might be, you have to have that plan. And so there's a lot more that goes on around all of this stuff. To get back to WordPress and why it's so important and why blogging is so important, you don't want technology to get in your way. You want to have that out of the way as much as possible, because you have many, many more important things to be focused on. And this is where a lot of people get, taken out of the race before it's even started. A lot of people fail, and then they say, "Oh, it was a total failure for me," and then you find out with a little digging that they never really got to launch, or they never got very far after the launch of their new site or their new marketing campaign through their site, or because they got bogged down in a bunch of technical junk. And this day and age, there's no reason for that. And one of the ways to get around a lot of those headaches is just to start on the right platform, which is WordPress.
And Paul asks a great question. Paul says, I don't know what kind of content to post that will convert visitors to subscribers. Well, you know, Paul, that's what most of today's training is about. It's not enough to set up your website in a way that you like. The entire site has to be devoted to what your prospects like. Your prospects love WordPress. More than 57 million Americans read blogs, and that's a stat from about a year ago. I was looking around for a more current one, and one of the things I saw suggested that today there are over 75 million Americans that read blogs. There are over 346 million people worldwide that read blogs. More importantly, though, blogs are where the money is at. The latest stat is actually more current than the one I have here. A year ago, 51% of blog readers shopped online. Latest thing I saw last night, 69% of blog readers shop online. Well, just by virtue of the fact that you build your presence using WordPress will make it much more likely that you're going to reach buyers rather than freebie seekers. And that's why more than half of all bloggers have an income of more than $75,000 a year. So, Paul, I assure you we will address the question of how do you get content that can visitors into subscribers. But let's look at the process of how do you get results with blogging. Well, 6 key steps or elements to getting results with blogging. As I said earlier, mindset is the key to everything. And when it comes to blogging, the right mindset means be the expert. In your own mind, you've got to see yourself as an expert first. If you don't, no one else will either. So we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about what it means to have the right mindset for blogging, what it means to be the expert, and what that translates to in terms of your writing style. Second key, target your market. Targeting your market has a very specific meaning. It's not enough to say, my potential customers are women, or my prospects are men. The more specific you can be about who your audience is, the easier it will be to get conversions to happen. We'll talk more about what that looks like and how you do that. Next, you want to use what I like to call a modular approach to building your blog. You want your content, your website, to become the heart and soul of what I call your traffic vortex or your traffic whirlpool. Done right, your blog/website is your one and only one online presence. And we'll talk about the difference between a scattered approach and a modular concept and how to apply that in your business. 4, you really need to have high-value keywords. When people first come into my world, they often think that high value means go to Google, type in the word, and see how many search results are. And most people think 100 million search results means it's a better keyword than one that has 1 million search results. No, that's not true. High value keywords are keywords that have high amount of demand, meaning how many searches there are per day or per month. And you can't see that on the front end of Google. It also means a keyword that has a very low amount of competition. When you're looking on Google, that number of search results is the amount of competition. 100 million competing search results, meaning 100 million pages that have that word or phrase in it, not good. You need to be using keywords that have fewer than 1 million competing search results. And we'll talk about what that looks like and how you find them. Number 5, using multiple creative formats really is so important to your success. And using all of the different creative formats in a way that has your website tied to all of the other places online that you have a presence, whether that's Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, iTunes, whatever it is. You want all of the creative formats to show up in as many places as possible. And the last key is what I call using the magic formula for writing a powerful post. And this is where the answer to Paul's question will come in. How do you write content that doesn't only get you search results, doesn't just get tied to other channels like social media, but drives both visitors and people who become subscribers and customers? So we're going to take each one of these key elements one piece at a time. Starting with number one, you need the right mindset. You need to be the expert. You need to have the right writing style. This is why it's so important to follow your passion in building your business. More important than that, if you follow your passion to grow your business, it never feels like work. It always feels like fun. However, by following your passion, it will make it so much easier to see yourself as the expert that you are. This is why it's not a good idea to go set up a website in internet marketing and a different website in the pet niche and a different website in something else. What are you an expert in then? You're an expert at putting up websites and not even making money with them, because more than likely you're not making money with them. You need to figure out what you're an expert at first so that you can clearly see in your own mind that you are an expert. Experts speak in a very specific way. Experts speak with what I like to say is an air of authority about them. They are influencers. They do not have a scarcity mentality. When you are an expert and an influencer, you're not going to write content like 17 tips to a happier life. Tell them in the article that there are 30 keys, here are 17, and then you can go buy the other 13. No, 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 no. If you really want to do more than just drive traffic, if you really want to get conversions to happen, then the content you create coming from the place of an expert is going to give people an overview of all the steps, and it's also going to tell them how they can subscribe or buy to get the detail. You've got to come from a place of abundance instead of a place of scarcity. Jack, anything to add on that?
Oh my, yes. I've done the other stuff. I've done a blog network. I've done lots of different topics. Man, I can tell you that the average person will not be able to handle that, and you're probably the average person, and so am I. You might see that as an enticing thing. Somebody might pitch you on, hey, start a blog network and set up sites that make it look like you're an expert in all of these different areas, but and then just collect pennies on the dollar for letting them just run. And it sounds exciting, but it is not the way anybody wants to go. That is really built for.
It is so much work.
It is a lot of work, and it's a lot of work if you're not a geek. And I absolutely lay down the line that absolutely have to be a full-on geek to make that work, because there's so much to do with programming and automation, and it's just the opposite of what we're talking about here today in every respect. There's no relationship. That's why those sites only make pennies per day, and you got to have dozens and dozens of them in order to make a living like that. So it's not and it's just the shiny object syndrome. A lot of times we'll talk about things today that you might think right now, oh, I don't know if I can do that, and that's completely natural, and that's I don't know if I see myself doing that, and maybe we'll describe it a little bit better, or you'll ask a question here in chat that will help us to clarify for you what we mean. But definitely when you're talking about the two different things, the harder work is actually being disingenuous, being someone who's basically trying to manipulate search engines and manipulate your way into what a relationship type business or relationship based business will get you automatically. So the grass always seems greener when you see somebody's pitch about it, but ask an expert if they've done that before and get their real feeling about it. And on this point here, you've got an expert's opinion. And it's a fact. It's a lot more work to do it the other way. So you have to become something To keep everything organized, you have to keep, you know, from going crazy. You're going to have to keep everything organized for yourself around certain topics and just leave it at that. You know, there's a lot to write about. There's a lot to publish on in most markets. Just under one moniker, one domain, all of that. And if you're not doing that, if you're not going deep and you're just going wide, there are a lot of more opportunities to drive yourself crazy than there are when you become an authority in one area.
Now, if you are not yet a true expert, if you don't have a system you're sharing with the world and you're still trying to get clear on that, that is totally fine. And that's what I love the most about the internet today. You need to at least become the conductor of the orchestra. If you think about the conductor of the orchestra, he doesn't usually master many different instruments or even one different instrument, yet he creates the most beautiful music around. And he does that because he knows who the other experts are, and he can go out and find all the different musicians who are experts at every single instrument. And he knows how to harmonize them in a way that creates beautiful music. That is totally fine in a business. Going out and finding other people who have content, who really are experts, bringing a group of them together through the content you provide on your website is 100% great to do. In fact, I actually think that is the better way to do it. That way you can save your own area of expertise, your own teaching, for behind the closed doors of a membership site, inside of the products that you create and sell, etc. Now, in being the expert and being the influencer, Jack and I do things very differently, and Ken has been following suit lately too. You see so many people who call themselves bloggers who have these articles that are just that, 17 tips kind of articles. And they think mistakenly that where their money comes in is through all the ads they have in the sidebar, the ads at the top of the article, the ads at the bottom of the article. That is not what we're talking about here. If you're the expert and if you're the influencer, you really understand that money is an expression of gratitude. Your prospects, your readers, will never use the great stuff you're sharing with them on your blog unless they have a vested interest in doing so. So it's totally fine to give them the 5-step process to the solution that they need and then offer them a way to buy the detail, because only those that go on to buy the detail are going to be likely to actually apply the process you just shared with them. So usually 75 to 80% of your revenues actually come from within the content. Every piece of content should have a call to action. Every piece of content's call to action should relate to the topic that you just wrote about. It should correlate in some shape or form so that it's really related. And that's a topic that's a little bigger than our training today, but we can absolutely help you better understand how that works and how to figure out your topics so that you can make sure that it's leading into the monetization. You want to have a series of things on what I call the low end of your funnel, so that if you're going to talk about 3 topics, 5 topics, 7 topics, whatever that number is, you're writing content rotating through those topics, and for each topic you have a low end something you're going to monetize it with. That could mean getting people to opt in. That could mean getting people to buy. It could mean selling your own products. It could mean selling other people's stuff as an affiliate. In your blogging, it is much better to have the call to action relate to information rather than have the call to action lead to physical products. There are a few niches where physical products or done-for-you services might be appropriate in a blog post, but most people are not out there looking for stuff to buy. Most people really are out there looking for information or solutions to problems. So to use information as your lead generator and then take the buyers and the subscribers and get them interested in other things, whether that's consulting, done for you, physical products, more information, coaching, live events, literally the sky's the limit, makes total sense when you're using the power of the internet. And that brings us to key element number 2 of targeting your market. This one is really, really important. And quite often I find that people don't really understand what targeting your market means. Targeting a market means that in your content and in what you're selling, you are targeting an audience that shares a common problem or common set of problems. This is an audience that you can reach in a group. They can't just be scattered all over the place. And the problems you help them to solve must be problems that they know they have. They can't be the second kind of problem, which is a you don't know what you don't know kind of problem. In today's workshop, today we're talking about the topic of relationship marketing. But when we told you about today's call, we told you you were coming to a blogging training, not a relationship marketing training. Beautiful example here. What you need is a relationship marketing system. What you wanted was a blogging system. You didn't even know that the two were related to one another. You got to keep that in mind in whatever message you're sharing with the world. Just because you sell SEO services doesn't mean your prospects are out there looking for SEO services. I probably bet you they're not out there looking for it because so many consultants keep dropping business cards and flyers off and sending postcards. If they are looking for something, it's more than likely, how do I get a #1 ranking on Google? How can I spend less money on my pay-per-click advertising? Or even more at a basic level, how do I get more customers in my front door? So really think about who your audience is. Understand what their problems are, what problems they know they have versus what problems you as an expert know they need to be addressing. So that in your blogging, in your search engine rankings, and in your social media, you're talking about only those problems that they know that they have, that they're actively looking for a solution to. Success in targeting requires that you have an alignment between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. This is a really interesting thing. Let's use the golf niche as an example, because it's got some really good examples within it of the alignment between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. In the golf niche, let's say you just created the most incredible golf ball. When people use this golf ball, they shoot many yards further without a hook, without a slice. It's the best thing that's ever hit the golf industry. It's the month of January. You want to go out and sell a bunch of your brand new golf balls. So you go out, you put up some ads, you're talking to the people in your area, and you happen to live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Are you going to sell many golf balls to people in the UP of Michigan in January when they're under 15 feet of snow? No, you probably aren't going to sell very many of them. However, that doesn't mean that you can't make money selling golf balls in January. It just means that you don't have an alignment between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. So either in January, sell your golf balls to people who live in Florida or Hawaii, or if you really want to sell to the UP of Michigan, do it in April or June, not in January. And really look at the alignment between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. Paul, if you're not getting visitors to convert to subscribers and customers, I bet you there's a mismatch between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. You cannot go out and try to be something to everybody. It won't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work because they don't share a common problem or a common set of problems. theoretically, it might seem like going after a more narrowly focused audience makes you less money. But it's actually quite the opposite. I should include another slide here. Ken, make a note for me to include the money flowchart slide here.
Okay.
It works like this. The money flowchart is an algebraic equation in a way. If you want to get sales, there are three components to it: the size of the audience, the targetedness of the audience, and conversions. It's kind of like A plus B plus C equals D, and D is sales. Well, if you go out and go after a bigger audience, they no longer share that common problem or common set of problems. They don't share a common language. And it's hard to get the alignment between the right audience, the right message, and the right time. And the result of going after a bigger audience is that conversions go down so much that it causes a drop in sales, not an increase in sales. But the opposite is also true. When you increase the targetedness of the audience so that there really is a massive alignment between the audience, the message, and the time, while the size of the audience went down, conversions went up so much that it actually caused an exponential growth in sales. So if you want traffic that converts, you want to go after the most narrow audience you can. Jack has experienced this with Brick Road Media. Jack, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Hey, you got the name right.
I did. I practiced.
I told you, stand in front of the mirror and practice Brick Road Media a few thousand times a day, and you'll have it. Yeah, we're hyper targeting now. We get much better results, and it's exact opposite of what I talked about earlier. It is the polar opposite of what I talked about earlier in being so spread out and spread thin. And this, what we're doing now in our targeting is the result of just getting fed up with all of that. It's the ultimate result. And so we do SEO. That's our marketing firm, and we do it for local businesses. And I've just told you nothing at all that's going to help me get more clients if I use the same kind of terminology and topics and keywords to attract local businesses who want more traffic or more leads or more sales or more people in the door. I've said nothing yet about that. Yet that's what we started out saying. And many people do this in their market. They're like, well, let me just be very general. And there's nothing wrong with foundational content on your site to just lay it down for people. The small percentage of people who are looking for that general information, it should be there. But that's just what I call foundational content. Then you need to really start to hone in. And we're down to specific industries now. Very small industries, not very big industries. You know, people where we only have 8,000 to choose from in the entire United States, and we're developing content just for them. So you know, and it's working. The more that you can feel like make someone feel like they're sitting down in front of you at a cafe, talking directly to them, giving them advice that they really love, and they're like Diana, who just said she's getting writer's cramp, because we're speaking truth to her in some way right now. She feels like she's got to write all this stuff down. That's the same kind of feeling you want to convey in your content on your site, and the only way that you can do that is you have to be able to have some sort of understanding of why someone is on your site, so that you can know who they are, know what their issues are, and talk directly to them. The more that you can use the name of their business, like winery, or we know a lot about the troubles that plague wineries when they're trying to get social traffic from Facebook. When you can do that kind of thing, and everybody that's on that page, bar none, is 100% winery owner or winery general manager, decision maker, then you wouldn't believe the conversion numbers that happen in that situation. Immediately, everybody opts in. It's like a 70+ opt-in rate right now, because we're talking directly to them, and we're giving them really cool stuff, and then we promise even more cool stuff if they just opt in. And we're talking really seriously money-wise valuable stuff, not the fake kind of stuff that people kind of trick you into opting in, and there's really not that much meat there. It's really giving out some incredibly good advice. And being in a service industry, targeting it this way, and at the end of the day, we can give these guys all the information they want, and they'll be so appreciative of it. But as a service, and because of the things that we're recommending and take work and time and know-how, at the end of the day, they've gotten what they thought they wanted, and then they're getting what they need, which is a recommendation that you're a winery owner or a general manager, and you are far too busy to just become an expert in this overnight and implement all of these things that we told you to do. Although you appreciated these little tricks that we gave you that you can do with your very, very busy schedule, nothing in your job description says you have to be an internet marketing expert and do all this other stuff. You have many more things to do, and that's how we end up selling our service and justifying the price that we charge for it. So that's a perfect, it's a big overview, but it's a perfect way to think about a funnel and how to pull people in and then talk directly to them and give them real serious value. And at the end of the day, there's still something at the end of that, which all of this relationship building built up a very low resistance to what you offer at that point and how much it costs.
And the simple fact of the matter is that by focusing on wineries and breweries, you went from having tens of millions of prospects to having fewer than 7,000 prospects. Theoretically, intuitively, it goes, how the heck can that make him more money, not less money? Well, A, Jack just said, prices went up. Now that he's an expert, not just in SEO, but he's really an expert in growing a winery or brewery business, his information just got way more valuable to those winery and brewery owners. Second, because he is one of a handful of people in the world that speak to this specific audience, he can get a lot more squeezed out of his visitors. He doesn't need to have millions of visitors to his site anymore. Hundreds of visitors will actually make him more money than millions because of the fact that they are so targeted. It's really, really incredibly powerful. Can you imagine how much easier your life and business would be if you could make more from 1,000 visitors than you could from 100,000 visitors? Takes a lot less effort to get 1,000 than it does 100,000, doesn't it, Jack?
It didn't always, but recently it is much, much easier to get that granular in your targeting. From Facebook advertising, you know, the thing that everybody complains about with Facebook is actually a marketer's dream. I can go out and find and have gotten every winery from Facebook. Not only that, but I can go out and get a list of all the phone numbers or email addresses of all the wineries in the United States, and I can take that back to Facebook using something called Power Editor and advertise directly to all of those people who have a Facebook page. And Facebook sorts out all the email addresses. They say, oh, this person has a Facebook business page, this winery does. Okay, that goes into the pool, and now give me your ad, and now I can just jump right in front of the exact people I want. That's just one example of how to go out and grab things, grab specific markets, and there's a lot more of that going on nowadays, where it's crazy to do it any other way. It's crazy to be a generalist on the web today.
It really is. And that brings us to our third key element to getting results with blogging, and that is using a modular approach, building your website, your blog, as the heart and soul of your business and making it the center point of your traffic vortex or your traffic whirlpool. So to understand the modular concept, it's really helpful to understand the scattered approach first. In the internet marketing arena, you see internet marketers using the scattered approach all the time. They come out with a product. They put it up on website number 1. Then they go out and they do some article marketing and they talk about it on Facebook and Twitter and Squidoo, and they might even have a YouTube video, and all those things link back to that product and that website. A couple months later, they come out with the next product. Okay, got to go put up website number 2. Now we got to go do all the traffic stuff again. We'll go out and go get some JV partners and affiliates this time. And maybe we might set up a blog on a third website to drive traffic back to it. And we might talk about it in some groups, communities, and forums. And we might try some pay-per-click. And before you know it, 6 products means at least 6 websites, probably a 7th website that is a blog. That is not what we're talking about here, guys. The concept is relationship marketing, growing relationships through your online presence. If you've got all these different websites and each one has just one product on it and another website for your blog, that does not even kind of help you to build a relationship with your audience. They are so confused, they have no idea where they can go to find you. So they don't. And if you're doing it with a scattered approach, more than likely you have very little word-of-mouth traffic because they can't even remember where to tell their friends that they can find you. Modular approach solves that and simplifies your life so much. You no longer have to make choices about, well, if I'm putting up a post on Facebook, where do I send that traffic? Which of my many websites do I send it to? Now it's all about one and only one website. It's built using what I call a modular approach. In a modular approach, you're going to use WordPress in a very specific way. WordPress has 3 components. There is WordPress itself. WordPress is a piece of software that organizes content. And that's all it does. The key to WordPress is the fact that it is going to take all of the content you put up and organize it and group it into 2 sets of things. There are pages in WordPress. Pages are those things that are static. They're informational, but they're more about you than problems and solutions to problems. They're things like your About page. Even your sales page is a page. Your Contact Us page is a page. That's the kind of content categorization that WordPress creates. Next is the content. The content that you're putting up is organized in WordPress by the use of categories. So you want to have different blog posts that are organized in groupings of topics called categories. By grouping your articles together around just those topics that are your categories, it makes it easier for your visitors to figure out where to find stuff. Makes it easier for them to see all the great stuff you have to offer. Jack and I have both tested with WordPress extensively. And if you want to get people to stay the longest, visit the most pages, buy and opt in at super high rates, you've got to understand how WordPress organizes content. And then you've got to understand the 2 add-on elements to WordPress. All 3 things work together. The second component to WordPress is a theme. The theme is what controls the look, the layout, the graphics, the font, the colors. That is done by the theme and not by WordPress itself. In our testing, we've seen over and over again that the thing that causes the greatest levels of engagement, that gets people buying and opting in at the highest rates, is a theme that has a right-hand sidebar and not a left-hand sidebar. It has the content down the left-hand side, the sidebar down the right. At the top is your header, and not 1 row of navigation, but 2 rows of navigation. 1 row is the pages, the things that are informational about your company, the things that describe your products, etc. And the second row is your categories, within which are your blog posts. Google especially, but all of the big search engines, they love WordPress because they know that with a WordPress site, it will be easier for the searcher to find all the great stuff the site offers. If you have 1 row of navigation, it tells Google that you don't understand how WordPress organizes content. That'll piss them off. They love how WordPress organizes content. So simply by switching from one row of navigation to two, you say to Google, I get how WordPress organizes content. I get that there are static pages that are often updated things that are blog posts within categories. And I'm making it easier for your searchers to recognize that on my site. In your sidebar is where you tie all the pieces together. At the top of the sidebar, you want an opt-in box. That opt-in box is probably going to have a slightly different message depending upon where it is on your site. On your home page, it's a fairly generic opt-in box. Sign up for our free newsletter and get blah, blah, blah. Improve your health, wealth, happiness, business success, whatever your topic is, by signing up for our free report below. Something generic. But within your blog, if you can change the message in the opt-in box, depending upon what category someone is on, it will make your conversions skyrocket. Now, only 15 to 20% of the conversions happen from the sidebar. But it's really important that that sidebar still relate to the content someone is viewing. In my world, there are 5 core systems that every business needs to be successful. The relationship building system or blogging system is simply one of those 5 things. So on my categories, I'm going to have 5 categories. Those 5 categories are going to relate to the 5 core systems that every business needs. I might have one that's about blogging. It's not about relationship marketing. My prospects don't know they need relationship marketing. They know they want blogging. That's one category. Mindset is another category. A third category is information products or info products. It's really the monetization system, using information to generate leads, using everything else to generate profit. Fourth is joint ventures. It's really the leveraging system. How do you get the biggest possible results with the least amount of effort in the shortest amount of time? My prospects call that joint ventures. And last is the lead generation system. It's really traffic or list building. So my categories are going to relate to those topics that form the basis of everything I teach. Down my sidebar, I will have 6 different opt-in boxes. One that shows up on the home page, a different one that shows up on each of the 5 categories. That way on my blogging category, my opt-in box is a blogging offer. On my joint venture category, my joint venture offer. And it's very easy using the third component to WordPress to make that happen. The third component is called a plugin. There are hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of plugins for WordPress. Some are free, some are paid. I have a whole list of recommended plugins that I want my students to use. Sometimes you got to be a little careful with plugins because they can conflict with one another. My recommended plugins list is a list that I tested all of it together, and I know that there are no conflicts. To do things like change the opt-in box depending upon where you're at on the site, you need a plugin to do it. Below that is contact us, connect with us, join us on social media, whatever you want to call it. It's the buttons that let people connect with you on social media. Below that are your most recent blog posts. On your home page, I'd have 5 most recent blog posts or articles. But again, this is something you want to change depending upon where people are on your site. If they're on category number 1, the most recent articles are the 5 most recent articles from category 1, not the 5 most recent articles. If they're on category number 3, 5 most recent posts from category number 3. If you don't have 5 posts in each category yet, great, you'll get there. Start with what you got. But that is important both from a conversion perspective and from a traffic perspective. If every element of your sidebar relates to the topic that someone is viewing in your content, It tells Google that your site is organized around relevance and that you're not going to try and bombard people with 10 different unrelated offers that don't make any sense for one person, but that you are really going to take someone by the hand from the search results to the website, and then you're going to guide them through the things that serve that one person best. And below your recent post, you do want a banner ad that will make you money. That can be something they have to opt in to get, something that's between $10 and $100, but don't go showing 10 different banner ads. You want one banner that relates to the topic of what they happen to be viewing at that moment. I haven't looked at questions lately. Have I missed anything that people are asking for?
Diana, just wanted to make sure we were on the same page still, key 3. And I saw your cursor move, so I imagine that's yes.
We are. Okay, so let's move on to one of Jack's favorite topics, and that's key number 4. Focus each post on only one high-value keyword. In other words, lots of demand, very little competition. So, keyword research is something that I do very differently than most other experts. I do not use Google's AdWords keyword tool, and I don't use it for a reason. It's not a very good predictor of traffic. The only reason I care about keyword research is because of what it can tell me about how much traffic I could generate. And that means I need to be using a keyword tool that can really help me figure out the traffic, not the number of searches. Well, Google's keyword tool was designed from the start to help Google sell more pay-per-click ads. That's why they built the tool, was to sell more pay-per-click ads. Now, I'm not going to say that Google lies, because I don't think that they do. But Google can very easily manipulate the data to make something appear to have more demand when it really doesn't. If people are bidding absurd amounts of money for pay-per-click ads for certain keywords, like anything related to internet marketing, for example, Google is going to artificially inflate the amount of demand because it will force marketers to pay more money for pay-per-click. It will make marketers think that they can get a bunch of stuff to happen using the keyword, when in fact that may not at all be the case. And it's just manipulation of the data. Even with an exact match in AdWords keyword tool, it is not truly an exact match in terms of the way that traffic would happen. On the other hand, WordTracker makes 100% of its money selling its data. That has a very specific meaning to you. If WordTracker's data is not very accurate, they're not going to sell very much of it. So I find that WordTracker is a much better predictor of how much traffic you can generate. So what is it that you need to look at when you're looking at keywords? Jack, why don't I let you tackle the difference between demand, competition, etc.
Okay. I was just telling Paul, he asked earlier, how much of an expert do you need to be? And I'm telling him 35.4%.
You're so funny, Jack.
I'll explain that later, but we do need to come back to that question. It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I don't even use tools anymore. I don't even use WordTracker. I'm radically zen about keyword research now. Now, I know my market really, really well. So if you don't, you want to start out here with what Gina's talking about, and WordTracker is an absolutely crucial tool just to find out that stuff that you'll know about your market as you go on. But if you've been in the market for a while and you kind of have a really good grasp, I'm spending more time on topic research. I call them topics instead of keywords, and I prefer to think of them as hot topics, what people really want to know now, and what they're asking a lot of questions about out there on search, in social, very important, and also the questions that people are answering on very popular sites related to mine that they're getting a lot of attention for. So if I go find a blog post in my feed reader that someone has put up in my market, and it's gotten 400 likes on Facebook, and it's gotten a whole bunch of +1s on Google Plus, and a lot of chatter in the comments section, I know that that's a hot topic. I don't have to ask WordTracker or anybody else if that's a hot topic. And because I keep up on my market on a daily basis, and I see posts like that on a regular basis, you can tell right away what keyword they're going after, because it's a topic. Keywords are topics. So you might do well to think about, all right, that really worked out well for that person, and you need to be watching your competition, and competition maybe not for your products, but competition certainly for the traffic that you're both going after. So, and I have a lot of people like that I do JVs with, that I work with, and we will copy each other on ideas. Hey, how did that work for you? Looks like it really went over well on social. Lots of commentary. That part's obvious, but how did it work for you on the back end? We'll share stuff all the time and network. And so a lot of my keyword research nowadays just comes from watching the market, paying attention, and just understanding what is now and what will be a hot topic. The other thing about, and I think WordTracker is a lot more better at this than the Google keyword tool, is in Google you're looking at history. You're looking at stuff that's already happened. And in some respect, you're also doing that with WordTracker by the very definition that they don't know what the search results were, or how many people searched on a certain keyword until it's already happened. So another part of your publishing and another part of your keyword research is keeping up on what's getting ready to happen. And that's where the biggest gains come. When you start a conversation, when you make something or are at the tip of the sword of something that's getting very, very popular, and you're one of the few resources on the web with that information, with that topic there. So I don't have as much to say anymore about specifically what you look for in these tools, and that's where high demand, low competition comes in. You're going to find low competition on every topic that you talk about by honing in your message with what we talked about earlier. Really going after and serving a particular niche market will put you in the category of low competition quite more often than having a generalist blog. And high demand is something that you can, outside of WordTracker and outside of those tools, you can also pick up on just by keeping up on your market and all the important places around the web that publish content and watching what they're doing. If they're really, really high traffic sites and they continue to develop content in a certain area, then there's your demand. And then look at the topics that they're publishing on. The ones that are successful will have all kinds of social activity, all kinds of comments, all kinds of links from other bloggers saying, man, this was such a great article, I'm not even going to try to write my own version of it. I'm just going to mention it here and link to it because this was awesome. Those kinds of things are keyword, doing those kinds of activities is keyword research as well. And then when you're looking at tools like WordTracker, you can pick up a lot of intel in a general way from things that only algorithms and computer programs can track, which is the numbers of things. So how much does an ad cost? How many people are paying for that cost? How many people are competing for that? That must be really hot because people don't continue to spend money on something that's not working. So money, follow the money, and you'll find the things that are high competition that people are using paid ads to get people to. Then you follow those ads and go, man, nobody's really got any good free content on this. These paid ads are usually going to something that's immediately going to try to sell something to someone, usually. And when people, because what we talked about earlier, people are looking for information. They're not necessarily, they're looking for information about things that they want to buy, not necessarily the thing they want to buy. 99% of the time they can go to Amazon and fulfill that requirement, and they know that. What they want is information or advice or whatever it might be related to products like that. So when you go into the paid ads and people are sending them straight to a squeeze page that immediately upsells them on a product or just starts selling them right on that link, And then you look around the web because you're keeping up on your market and all the important voices in your market, and see that nobody's really talking about that. Well, these guys are over here spending a ton of money on ads to get people to a certain page on that topic, and that means that the organic results are probably pretty wide open. That anybody who's in the top 10 right now might just be there by accident rather than on purpose, and you can place yourself there on purpose.
I love it when that happens because it makes it so easy to get to the top.
Yeah. So I guess to wrap it up, it's like I just go looking for holes in the market, and when it comes to topics and keywords, you start after a while not looking at tools. It's very, very helpful. It's crucial in the beginning, but as you get going, you look more for what's hot. You have your own in your head what's trending. Plus, you have all these great tools on Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus, to name a few, that show you what the trends are. Another keyword research thing that I do is I go to search.twitter.com and I put in keywords I think people might be interested in, and I see whether they actually are or are not live right now. And when somebody posts, as I'm looking at the results, and then 20 more people post around that keyword, it says 20 more posts. And I'll leave it there for a second. I'll say, wow, how fast are these posts piling up? That means that there's a lot of activity around here. Is anybody getting this question satisfactorily answered? And if they're asking about a product, you'll see a lot of people answering with affiliate links, and not as many people saying, oh, I wrote a post about that. That's your gold right there, and that's where you want to go in. Oh, I use that product and I did a review of it. You can take a look at how I use that product, or the issues and problems or solutions around the questions that people ask about that particular product or service or whatever it might be. You jump in there and provide it, where others are getting too greedy, they're not building relationships, and they're just trying to slam people with affiliate links or their own paid products or whatever it might be too soon. We know now that that doesn't work for most people. You have to be a geek to be able to pull that off. You have to be an excellent copywriter. You have to have so many things right. You have to get all the basics so absolutely right that you can't fail on any one of them in order to compete with these guys who are going for the jugular, and they might be making sales, but they've got a $100,000 a year copywriter working for them. They've got a $100,000 a year SEO person working for them. They've got a $30,000 or $40,000 a year person running all of their ads professionally, expertly, so they're not wasting money. And these are all things that you guys don't have. So you can't look at guys like that and go, that's my competition. They're not. You're not even in the same ballpark, and it's not for a bad reason because they're better than you. They're doing something completely different, and they're ignoring what I think, and Gina and everyone else associated with this is organic traffic's where it's at. The free stuff is where it's at. And you can learn so much about keywords, topics, and things that you should be publishing about by watching what people are spending money on for paid ads, because they won't do it over time if it loses them money. You know, it just is, unless they're stupid, and nobody's really going to get really stupid when it's, you know, Google ties right into their bank account and sucks money out of it regardless of whether the ads are converting or not.
And I don't want us to run out of time, so let me jump back in here. Who was it? Kim asked, how does Word Tracker compare to Market Samurai? Great question. Market Samurai's data actually originates with Google's keyword tool. They then apply their own custom algorithm to manipulate it a little bit, but it's still flawed from the beginning because it started out as Google's keyword tool. One of my tools that I use is paid, one is free. The free one is askggg.com/free keyword tool. askggg.com/free keyword tool. And Ken, maybe you could type that in for me. I just want to show you this real quick. One of my students is a woman by the name of Cindy Paris. Cindy is in the weight loss niche. To get the demand, the competition, those two things, you really need to go do the research. So first, in the weight loss arena, if I went to Google, I'm not logged in, and you can tell because it says at the top, sign in, and I do a search for lose weight with quotation marks around it. There are 42,400,000 competing search results for lose weight. It's going to be really tough for poor Cindy from healthyweightlossconcepts.com to drive much traffic if she's got 42.4 million competing search results. So rather than asking, okay, what niche are you in? Go plug that keyword in. We ask a slightly different question. The question that I like my students to ask is, what is it that your prospects already know about? Fill in the blank with the topic. So when we asked that question with Cindy, Cindy said, well, one of the things my people are looking for all the time is how much water should they drink in order to lose weight? So rather than focusing on lose weight by itself, we went out to look at drink water or water drinks. And we went and did that on askggg.com/free keyword tool, which tells us how much water should I drink to lose weight, has 372 searches a day. Well, if I do the math, that means there's 11,160 searches per month. That's a lot of searching. Now, unlike the 42.4 million search results on Google, if I go look up that phrase on Google with quotation marks around it, there are only 67,600 competing search results. Jack, you think Cindy might be able to rank with this keyword? How about you guys? You think Cindy can rank with this keyword? Only 67,600 as compared to 42.4 million competing search results? Let's see what you guys say. Yep. Damn right. And because there's so little competition, this one keyword by itself could drive over 2,200 visitors a month to Cindy's site, especially if she starts to really dominate the search results. So that's what we mean by high value keyword. High demand, low competition, and it's also good because there are paid ads. There are paid ads, somebody's making money from it, and more than likely you can too. So where you put your keywords is equally as important as what keywords you use. You want to put your keywords in many different places. Number one, the keyword goes in the actual title of the blog post. If we look back on Cindy's site as an example, on her blog post, the keyword is the entire title. How much water should I drink to lose weight? The per day is not necessarily part of the phrase. It ends in a question mark. It ends in a question mark because Google knows that when someone types in drink water or lose weight, they're really thinking about a question in their mind. They're not thinking about just that word. Well, if you can guess that question right so that the title of your blog post is exactly what the searcher intended, you're going to jump to the top of the search results for almost any keyword you want to use, just because it's so rare for people to title their blog posts that way. They usually title them as 17 tips to fill in the blank. Even if you titled it 17 tips to fill in the blank and put a question mark in, if that was identical to a post without the question mark in the title, it would still outrank the one without the question mark every time. So get your keyword into your title, write your title as a question. If you're not sure what questions your audience is asking about your keywords, go to askggg.com/keyword questions, askggg.com/keyword questions. Go do a search for that keyword. The numbers on that tool are irrelevant. What you care about is what questions are people asking about that word. Most keywords you look up are going to have hundreds of questions. Well, guess what? Your blogging just got a hell of a lot easier because those are all the titles of your upcoming blog posts. Paul, that is a biggie on turning visitors into subscribers and customers. See what you come up with in your niche for that. I bet it makes a big difference. Next place the keyword goes. That keyword needs to be used in the body of the content many different times. First, it needs to be in the first paragraph and the last paragraph. It needs to be exactly the same keyword. If you're using lose weight as your keyword, you can't use weight loss in the first paragraph and lose weight in the last paragraph and losing weight in the title. All three must be exactly the same, lose weight. In addition to the first paragraph and the last paragraph, one time the keyword needs to be anchor text for an internal link, another time it needs to be anchor text for an external link. You can do that in the first paragraph and last paragraph, but if contextually that doesn't make sense, just put it in there a few more times. So what's an internal link? What's an external link? An internal link is a link that goes from page 1 of your site to page 2 of your site, where both pages have the same keyword on it. So your lose weight blog post links to a something else that includes the word lose weight on it. That can be another blog post, it can be a category, it can be a sales page, an opt-in page. It could be what I would prefer doing, which is a glossary, very specific kind of glossary, and I'll tell you guys more about that later. An external link is a link that goes from a page of your site to some page of somebody else's site, completely different domain. Again, your page and their page must still use the same word. It's better to not link to somebodyelsedomain.com, but instead link to somebodyelsedomain.com / and the page. You actually want to link to an internal page of someone else's site that uses the same keyword. And the last place that the keyword goes is what's called the tag. In WordPress, there is an area called tags. Your tags need to be things that are in the content of the blog post somewhere, either the title or the body of the post. You want to use things other than just your keyword in your tags. So each blog post focuses on one and only one keyword, but it can have many different tags within it. Your name, if it's used in the signature line, goes in the tags. Your domain name, if it's used in the signature line, goes in the tags. The call to action, whatever the product or report is, goes in the tag. And any other ancillary synergistic words in the body of the post go in the tags, even though you're not focusing on those words throughout the post. Hopefully I got any questions that came from that. So next, we're going to talk about key element number 5, using multiple creative formats. And to do that, I want to show you both on the PowerPoint, but then I'm going to go show you Cindy's site so you can better understand how this works. First, in your blogging, every blog post should have as many of the 4 creative formats as possible. Write these down: text, audio, video, and image. If you can get all 4 for every blog post, really doing great. Now, if you've been working online for any time at all, you probably have heard about optimizing your images for search engines. Most people think that optimizing an image means that you have the image itself, a title tag, and what's called the alternate text tag. A search engine spider can't see a picture. It can only read text. The alternate text is what would display to someone who doesn't have the ability to see a picture, like a spider. While you do want to optimize the title tag and the alternate text tag, the title tag is what you see when you mouse over an image. So if I mouse over this image, I see how much water should I drink to lose weight, and that's Cindy's keyword. That's the title tag. The alternate text you don't see, it's invisible because I'm seeing the picture. But to a search engine, you'd see the alternate text. You do want those two, but you also want to optimize the actual file properties, which happens on your computer, not up on your website. So every image can have its file properties optimized. Number 1, The file name should be the same as your blog post title. If your blog post title already includes the keyword, then the file name will include the keyword. At the end of the title in the file name, I would add a dash, and I would put in the size of the picture, 300 x 400. So it's making it much easier for Google to understand what this image is about. It can see the words in the title, put dashes between them. It can see what size this image is. On a PC, not on a Mac, if you go to Windows Explorer, where you see the list of all the files on your computer, you locate an image and you right-click on it. There will be an option called Properties. The file properties are in those properties. You want to optimize the title, the tags, the subject, and the authors. The title is simple, title of your blog post. The description can be, the subject is what you'd use as an excerpt. It's an overview of your blog post with the keyword in the first sentence and the last sentence. Your tags are the tags from your blog post. And the copyright and authors can be both you and your domain name. When you do that in the file properties, save it, and then upload the picture to your website, it can get your image optimized in a way that gets much higher search engine ranking. Your pictures should have links attached to them. When you insert a picture into a blog post in WordPress, WordPress defaults to having the picture linked to the picture. You do not want to do that. If you're using good pictures, you're going to get a large percentage of your readers clicking on your pictures, whether it was your intention or not. It does not serve them well to take them to the picture. So where should you take them? How about your money page? Whatever you're putting into the call to action for your blog post, take them to the same page. On Cindy's site, if we go back there, Cindy's site, all of her pictures link directly to a page where you can join her membership site. In this case, it's a free membership site. But that's the whole point. Link it to your money page. It really will make a lot more money for you and get a lot more subscribers for you in the end. Next, shouldn't have gone there. Next is the other creative formats. And the other creative formats are also equally important. I'm going to show you this on Cindy's site since I inadvertently left out a slide. If we go and look at Cindy's healthyweightlossconcepts.com, you will see that every single article uses all four creative formats. The articles are written, so they're in text. The articles all have an image in them. And at the top, you see play video and play audio. Yeah, I know, Ken. Play video and play audio. The play video is exactly what it sounds like. It is the video version of her article. Cindy uses a plugin to do this. I wish I could show you this, but it's just not getting me to where I need to go. That video looks like a PowerPoint slideshow, and it has Cindy's branding in it. But it is an exact duplicate of what the blog post is. And it can make it so much easier to have a plugin that creates that on autopilot for you, rather than having to do that manually. The same plugin also creates the audio for you, which is awesome. You don't have to do anything. You write the blog post. Here's her video. And it makes it look really good, but more importantly, it serves the searchers in a way that most of your competition will not be, because they have different content in different formats. So key element number 5, I'm going to go through really quick because I know Paul wants to hear this. Key element number 5 is writing content that doesn't just drive traffic, but really gets conversions to happen. It's what I call the magic formula, writing a powerful post. It is as much about where the keywords go as it is about how to format content that gets conversions to occur. So first, put the keyword in the title, and the title with a question mark, and actually make it ask a question. When you use that keyword questions tool, you're going to see that the questions people are asking are usually problems. The whole blog post is going to focus on helping someone to solve the problem that is the question in your title. Get that keyword into the first paragraph, the last paragraph. Get the keyword as anchor text for an internal link, anchor text for an external link. Next, this is the format of the actual blog post. Start the post with a story that both illustrates the problem and gets the reader in touch with the pain of the problem. Doesn't need to be a long story. It can be as short as one paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs. But really focus on giving them a story that makes them understand what this article is about. Next, reiterate the question. So how do you fill in the blank with the question? Next, short bulleted list. This short bulleted list is either the steps to the solution or the solutions to the problem this post solves. And I really mean bullets. I do not mean paragraphs. Keep them punchy, keep them short. After the short list, you can absolutely go on to explain it. And at the end, tie it together with a call to action to something they either opt in for or something they have to buy. And that something, it should be something that gets them bigger results, better results, or faster results than what it is you just shared with them in the article. And the last key element, blog daily. I teach my students that especially the first 90 days of blogging, you'll want to be blogging consistently. Consistency is the key. You need to find your rhythm. Writing your blogging will actually help you better develop the voice of an expert from within you. But most importantly, it sets an expectation for your readers. You want them to be seeing stuff on a consistent schedule. 5 days a week for the first 3 months should be very, very doable. If you make a commitment to it, you got to make the commitment. And beyond that first 90 days, you decide how often you're going to put up new content. I would make it minimum of twice a week, preferably 3 times a week. And more often than not, when you find your rhythm, you really can do 5 times a week. It's just a matter of figuring out what your rhythm looks like. Yes, Diana, there will absolutely be a replay of this. So, I know we had a lot to cover today, and I know I could talk about blogging for 100+ hours or more. So Ken, this is just the tip of the iceberg. For folks who want to learn more about blogging, how can we help them?
Well, you know, I thought we were done. I thought we taught everything that there is.
Yeah, don't I wish. No, blogging, hundreds of hours.
You all know by now that we have put something together incredibly special for you. And it is our Blogging Systems Workshop 3. Not to be confused with Blogging Systems Workshop 1 or Blogging Systems Workshop number 2. But this is Blogging Systems Workshop number 3. And I'm going to grab the screen here real quickly if I can find it. Here we go. Hang on one second.
Give it to you?
I got it. Thank you. And so let me share with you what the actual program is. Because it's really, really exciting what we put together. Blogging Systems Workshop 3 is a day-and-a-half program. It's going to be held in September 21 and 22, I believe those dates are. And let me go through it. Gina, pop in with me here as we go through exactly what the course is. It's 7 modules over a day and a half. Begins Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m., continuing till about 6 And what time zone that 6 is, I can't tell you because we're notorious for giving you more content than what. Well, I was talking about the conclusion. We start Eastern, but we might finish later on that side because we never ever finish exactly on time because we keep giving you more. So understand that. And by the way, it's all going to be recorded. So Diana, always we record because that ultimately for us becomes a product for the future. So these things will be available forever. Okay, so in module number 1, beginning bright and early at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to go into beginning the relationship systems, and that's doing your market research, understanding the levels of awareness of the audience, which is fundamental. We're going to be spending a bunch of time on that because if you're talking to people that don't understand what you're talking about, you've just wasted all of your time and energy and effort. Because the bottom line is you got to know who your audience is, what they're searching for, and we'll do that all in module number 1. From module number 1, we go directly to, guess where? Module number 2, where we take you through the introduction of blogging. We've given you a real snapshot today of what is going on, but you're going to learn how to set your WordPress blog up, the theme selection, and we'll make a lot of suggestions for you, including both your theme as well as what plugins you'll want to use and how you're going to want to operate it. So many people are making massive mistakes in the way they run their WordPress installation. I mean, from the basics of just something as simple as security, you never want to have your user as called admin, for example. I mean, little things like that can cost you massively. So we'll take you through the basics of setting your WordPress up, setting up your opt-in systems, everything, all the way down, including SEO. Very important, fundamental stuff, and we'll take you right through that. Then we go into SEO. We'll go into keyword research. You've heard a bunch about that already, and we're going to get into much more detail. And you'll have spreadsheets. You'll have all the tools that you need to learn how to optimize, how to take care of the backlinks, the external links, all the stuff, how they matter, all the way down the line. The advanced strategies will take you step by step all the way through it, and you will be able to ask tons of questions to get complete and total clarity. This is really where the rubber meets the road. Okay, going to module number 4, the magic formula, and this is really where words make money, guys. And so the magic formula for writing blog posts that produce cash. The sidebar, fundamental. Gina talked a bit about that today with it being on the right side, fundamental for you. And we're going to take it down to an actual formula. How much traffic do you need? What's it going to cost to get it? So you know exactly what you must do to get the results that you want all the way down the line. You started seeing a little bit about optimizing images. We're going into even a bit more detail on that. And then we jump to module number 5. And that's how you're going to drive your traffic. There is a 6-step process that Gina is known for. It's famous, and it's famous for a reason, because it frankly works. You'll learn how to use that system, how to implement that system, and how to be able to actually outsource a bunch of that so you don't have to do it all yourself. This is going to involve some planning, both daily, weekly, monthly, and we'll talk to you about strategies and tactics so that it all works flawlessly for you. Understand that your social accounts will be fundamental as well, and we'll go into all of that in module number 5. You will then have some rest, assuming we get through all those on day 1, which probably we won't do. We'll probably be breaking it up after module 3 on day 1. But module number 6 is going to be about building your membership sites on WordPress. How do you do that? What is the structure of your membership site going to be? What would you use to actually manage that membership site? I can't even say that word properly. Membership site. Say that 3 times fast. How do you want it to look? What's going to be the engagement of that? How do you monetize that and manage that? All of that's going to be fundamental to you, and I'm a big believer in membership sites. I think they make huge sums of money for the people that use them. You want to use them because at the end of the day, your membership site is called continuity income, my friends. That's the money that comes in while you are sleeping, and we want you to have a giant site that creates that kind of revenue for you. You may never use a traditional.
And the way that we will be showing you to build membership sites. Not only does the membership site directly provide continuity income, but believe it or not, the membership site itself actually has a massive impact on organic traffic, meaning free traffic.
Absolutely.
Very, very critical.
Because the thing that's going to be interesting is your membership site is your sales site, it's your content site, it's your landing site, it's all of it together.
Everything.
That is a fundamental piece, my friends, that I learned within the past year from Gina, and what it's done is it's made my business stronger. It's made my life a lot simpler. As I now cancel URLs and cancel websites that I no longer need because they distract Google from sending me people that want to spend money with me. So you really want to pay close attention to module number 6 and learn how to do this. It will save your sanity. It will make your life so much easier. And at the same time, it will make you so much more money. So fundamental for you. Module number 7, we put it all together. And that's going to be the analytics side. This is really where you get to count your money. And what I mean by count your money is you'll get to see just exactly where your traffic's coming from, what you want to do with them, how long they're on your page, where they go on your page, all the metrics. If you don't measure it, people keep saying if you don't measure it, it doesn't exist. That's true. You've got to know what works, what doesn't work, and if it doesn't work in a certain fashion, you modify it, you change it. You'll be doing a lot of testing. All of that relates to your analytics. This is one of the things that most people don't understand and they don't do, and frankly, it's why people don't make enough money, or as much money as they could make, because they just have no idea what they should be doing more of or doing less than. So you're going to want to pay real close attention to module number 7 where we bring it all home. This is a solid day and a half. Do you think this is something that will help you build your business and build your lifestyle? I think so. Absolutely. Which is why I call it a content marathon. And this training, and it is a training and a workshop, as everything that we do, and when we structure our weekend workshops, Gina and I and now Jack, we structure them to involve you specifically. The mics are open. You get to talk to us. You get to interact with us because this is about you. We know the curriculum. We want to make sure that you know it, and not just know it, but actually implement it. So it's a $9.97 value, but today you get to access it at the early bird price. While you're with us today on this live event, it would normally be $247. Okay, that's our normal price. But today you cross that right out, and you can grab it for $197 when you go to the URL, which is bypnow.com/BSW. As in Boost Your Practice Now, bypnow.com/BSW, which stands for Blog Systems Workshop. So go and grab your spot right now. And by the way, you do want to do this within the next 24 hours because as you will see as I go through, yes, there's bonuses. There is one that I added today that is time sensitive for 24 hours only. And well, I'll just leave it that way. So there's a lot more for you moving forward. Number one, for those of you that have not had the pleasure of a strategy session, you will get a one-on-one strategy session with either Gina or a member of our team. That's a $2,000 value, and that is something that you want to take advantage of almost as quickly as you possibly can. And I say that because our schedule is pretty full in terms of strategy sessions. We're scheduled out for a while now, but you want to get on a strategy session, particularly after this event's over, so you know what direction you're going to go into. Okay, you want to be because the strategy session will surprise you with what you think your mission is or what you think your direction is. You may discover that the direction is actually simpler, easier, more profitable, and right in front of your nose that you didn't even notice. It's amazing what the strategy sessions have done for our student base. And I know a bunch of you that are on here that we've done, strategy sessions with, where the revelations that you have experienced have been nothing short of life-changing. So this is truly...
And for some of the people that have asked questions on this call, Paul is one of them. Kim was another one. If you guys come into the Blog Systems Workshop, make sure you email us at adminteam@directionsyou.com. Paul, I want to make sure I do your strategy session personally. Kim, same with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a lot of you that are with us have already had some strategy sessions. So this is obviously that you already received the bonus, but you can pop in the chat and just tell us how it's been good for you because it's really been pretty incredible. Okay, second bonus here, and Jeannie, you might want to take a look at Judy's question as I go through this. You're going to get lifetime access to the 30-day I Am Challenge. That is lifetime access. Now, the I Am Challenge, Gina, how much is that per month normally?
normally $19.95 a month.
Yeah, you don't pay that ever. That is lifetime access. And with the Gold Challenge, you get a weekly call called the Gold Call. And Gina, you and I spoke about the Gold Call this week, just about an hour or two ago. And what was in just a couple of words? What happened in that Gold Call that was so miraculous?
Oh my goodness, Mark is here. I don't know if he's got his microphone that I can unmute him. Mark, let me know in the questions if I can. Mark he's been really working hard to find some direction for his business, which is a nonprofit. And the takeaways that came out of yesterday are literally like world changing. The concept that we came up with yesterday for him was just so unbelievable. And what made it so great was by the end of the call, almost every person in the call was as excited as the one person we focused the call on.
Yeah, and I'll add to that because you and I had this conversation before we began today's session, and I was excited. I wasn't on the call. I was excited when I heard about it because what you're involved in, I'm involved in too. And it's fascinating how all of our kindred minds work together. Because you're here with us because Gina promoted this week, I promoted this week. You guys are part of our family. You're part of our tribe. And that relationship is so stellar that when you get onto these calls, because we're ships from the same port, we're all working together, and it's just incredible what the synergy is. So I couldn't be more excited about what you're into, Mark. It's just absolutely amazing. So
I just tried to unmute him. Mark, do you have your mic on?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
I can.
There you go, Mark.
Can you tell everybody just a little bit of what you took away from your hug seat yesterday on the Gold Call?
Well, it was quite a remarkable experience. I expected it to be because I'd listened to quite a number of Gold Calls before participating in one as a subject. The nonprofit organization that I have is something called cultural conservation, and the premise of it is that we should be working to preserve and conserve our cultural resources with the same energy that we devote to our natural resources. I had been concerned for some time about students coming out of school unfamiliar with any music other than what they've heard on MTV. Many haven't read a book that hasn't been assigned to them, and many others are woefully ignorant of even the most basic facts of American history. But they are very familiar with what I call the celebrity culture, which is a pop culture filled by people usually of little achievement but gaining a great deal of attention. And I think that that's having a very serious impact on our society. Yesterday, Gina went through the goals of the organization that I've set up. I come from a background in radio and television, and the doctor in front of my name is not medical, it's musical. And we discussed all the various options of how to find a target audience. And much of what we're going to be doing will relate to designing a new website. I have a website for my most recent book, which is called Mark My Words. But I think probably the primary takeaway was the fact that Gina was able to come up with an idea, which I think is a very interesting suggestion, which would involve combining the goals of our organization with something which I didn't really introduce into the conversation yesterday, but has been a long source of concern to me, and that is the decline of the family in our country and our society. And this, incidentally, is worldwide. And the takeaway would be that it is possible to combine the need for families to participate in and become more aware of our culture with the goals of our organization. And I think probably what impressed me is that Gina has a knack for getting a sense almost instantly of where someone wants to go and translating that into very practical terms. And that was what drew me into the group in the first place. So I think that's probably the principal takeaway for me.
That's great.
And it was really one of the most incredible Gold Calls we have had in a very long time. I cannot say how grateful I am, Mark, for you being willing to be on the hug seat yesterday. great call.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm delighted to have had the opportunity to do it, and certainly looking forward to following up on many of the suggestions that you made. It's also nice to have a chance to say hello to Ken for the first time, because I've listened to you a lot, so I feel as if I know you. And now that I'm in Passion to Profits, I probably will be talking to you some more.
Absolutely. Well,
You absolutely will.
well, when Gina was telling me about the old movies and the old radio shows, what you don't know is that I used to not just collect them, but also sell and trade old radio programs from the Shadow of the Lone Ranger, Gangbusters, Escape, Suspense, all those things. So there's a lot of history here and a lot of common interest, which is why I said we're kind of ships from the same port. So really glad to have you with us. And looking forward to just the magic that you're doing and following along, and some further ideas that we've got. This I'm gonna move a little bit forward here because we're running a bit tight on time.
Before you do, let me just read one of the comments. Kay commented about the strategy session bonus, and she says that her strategy session, which she did with both Ken and I recently, had an immediate impact on her and her business. She took action. Now you have to understand, when we did Kay's strategy session, it took Ken and I between 20 and 25 minutes each to pull up her website on our computer.
It was awful.
Not so hot. It was unbelievably bad.
Awful. And now it loads
Kay was able to change that quickly and pretty effortlessly, I'm told, so that now it starts up in a blink of an eye. And she says it gave her a lot to think about in turning a negative situation into a positive one. She highly recommends strategy sessions to any listeners. It motivated her to keep going, even though there's so much to learn. Thank you so much, Kay.
Thanks, Kay. And it was, and I got to tell you that the strategy sessions really are a joy for us to do. It allows us to connect with you, to understand how we can better serve you and better serve everybody else. So to a large extent, it's really very self-serving for us because it really does allow us to connect with you. And this is all about connection. You're going to want to do things just like this in your own business as well. Same thing with the way we do the challenges. With the gold challenge and the gold calls, it allows everyone to understand exactly what your mutual needs are, and then we can serve you. So it really does work out well for everybody. And I got to tell you, the takeaway, just that Mark had, and the takeaway that everyone gets from these calls is not just when you're being on a hug seat or you're getting your questions answered. It's when you're listening to everyone else that so much of the learning takes place. It's massive. So very, very, very exciting. And so you're going to love that. Then you're going to get Gina's program, 21 Days to Blogging Profits. It's a multimedia course. It's a $97 value. You don't pay for that. You get that as well. And so those are your bonuses. They're incredible. The course is a $997 value. The bonuses are worth nearly $2,600. So it's a $3,600 value for everything, which would normally be $247. But because you are here now, this is our first webinar, first session actually going through BSW, Blog Systems Workshop. You're going to get the $197 price right now for the next 24 hours at bypnow.com/BSW. It sounds like it's all in acronyms here, but it's bypnow.com/BSW for Blog Systems Workshop. And I think Gina probably put that in the chat while I was talking. But I decided that wasn't enough. Okay, I decided that I really wanted to do is I wanted you guys to not just think this is a nice idea, but actually think this is a great idea and sign up right now. So what I decided to do during the day today while Gina was sleeping, because Gina sleeps while I'm up. I'm in Thailand, and Gina's in the States. So we do overlap. We're like a 24-hour business. It's crazy. So anyway, I made the executive decision to give away my Focus Factor program. It's a 7-video course on how to focus, on how to get your job done. So many of you people that we talk to feel overwhelmed. And what I want you to do is feel total comfort that what you want to achieve, you can achieve. And Focus Factor helps you do that. It's a $97 value for the next 24 hours. It's included when you get this course. Okay, and that's not just the videos; it's the entire video course bundle that we put together. I would normally show you the sales page that has all the information about it, except that we have like only 4 lines of that sales page that are done. We can't find the rest of it, but the members area is working just great. So you will have access to that, and that you'll have access to virtually immediately. So you're going to get that along with this. But again, you've got to do this within the next 24 hours because it is coming off of the table. So to sum it up, you're going to get the course, the weekend workshop, Blog Systems Workshop, all 7 modules, 4 bonuses worth $2,700, total value $3,600, yours now for $197. And for those of you, a lot of you are here already have this because you're members of our associate program, so you are already enrolled and you will get your logins, of course, as we move closer to the event itself. And for those of you that are already in associate, yes, I will give you that extra bonus because I love you and because you're going to have that as well. So I'll pop that into the associates area for you guys over the next day or so. So any questions that we need to answer here, I want to make sure that all of you do grab your spot to this event. The sooner that you are enrolled, the sooner you'll get to actually take advantage of some of the bonuses. You'll be able, if you want to do strategy sessions sooner, that's cool as well. The event is September 21 and 22, and you will, I promise you will absolutely love this. Of course, everything that we do is 100% guaranteed. If by the end of the first day you are not totally loving what you're doing, let us know. You get your money back, no problem at all. I don't think we've ever had to do that. But I want you to feel 100% comfortable that you will succeed. We want to be sure that you do. We thrive on your success. So do I have questions that we need to get answered here, Gina?
Yes, from Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is already in the JV Systems workshop, and he wanted to know how this course differs. It's a great question, Paul.
Sure is.
As I said earlier, there are 5 core systems that every business needs: mindset, blogging, info products, joint ventures, traffic and lead generation that also incorporates list building. Ken and I are actually working right now, and Jack is working with us, on doing a series of 8 workshops. They happen about every 45 days over the course of 12 months. We just completed the social media workshop, the strategic social media workshop, which is one of 4 components to traffic and lead generation. In addition to that one, there are 7 more topics that take place, starting with blogging, in September. In November will be the info product systems workshop. December, we're doing joint venture systems workshop 2, and so on. Every time we do these workshops, we are not using the same format as the prior one. What we really want to do is add on. We want to both freshen up content. With blogging, I could do the blog systems workshop every single year and always have new material for it. WordPress changes that often. You need to have it updated once a year. The core system doesn't change. In fact, the system of the 5 systems has not changed in my world since 2004. The tactics change ever so slightly. So each time we do the next workshop, this is Blog Systems Workshop 3, the 3rd time I've done it, we freshen up the tactical elements, and then we expand upon the strategic elements. So I am thrilled that Jack and Ken have agreed to work with me on getting this accomplished. This has been a goal of mine for 6 years. But to put on 8 workshops in a 12-month period with all that entails is quite an undertaking for just one person. For the 3 of us to do this together, oh my gosh, it's like a dream come true. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about it. So, Paul, you would not even a little bit be duplicating anything you've learned in the JV Systems workshop.
No, and we're so excited about this whole thing that as you go through the curriculum, and yeah, we're at 7 or 8, or I don't know how many live events we've got planned for the year, but they all build on one another. And frankly, we're doing BSW 3 because there are so many changes that have taken place between BSW 1 and BSW 2.
Absolutely.
Our associate members have access to 1 and 2, and they'll be able to study those before they get to 3. And some of you that once you do enroll in Blogging Systems Workshop 3, you will have the opportunity to be invited today to the associate program. But you've got to actually enroll in the workshop before you actually have the eligibility to get into the associate program right now. It is an invitation right now program. So you'll find out about that after you're involved with us. But it's exciting. It's really exciting to be able to have you as part of our family and have this relationship beginning, because this is really where the money gets made. This is really where you get to understand and interact and relate. This isn't. It's funny, Gina. I don't know if you were aware. We had someone within the first couple of minutes of the event today say, "You get to the point. Stop the introductions. I want information now. You're losing me," and he left. And I was like, "Good, goodbye. You're not our customer. You're not part of our universe. We are relationship oriented humans. We're relationship oriented marketers. We're strategic in our relationships because we want to work with people that we have fun and that we want to play with. We could dump information on you."
And there's one more question I've got to make sure we answer for Kim.
Yeah.
Kim, this is a really good question. Kim has an e-commerce site where she sells high-end skincare products. It's realskinsolutions.com. I actually know your site well, Kim. She has a blog on her site. She set the site up with an auto-replenish offer for each product you buy. So, for example, you're going to get something every 30, 90, 120 days automatically. Her question is, does the blogging program apply to e-commerce, specifically to her skincare niche? Kim, as it turns out, I have 3 past high-end coaching clients that were in the skincare business, hence the reason that I know about realskinsolutions.com. When I went to look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's in my history. Oh yeah, I know this site. It applies 100% to what you're doing. And in fact, I have a feeling that for you, it will make an enormous difference in both traffic and, more importantly than that, conversion. So if you want to grab your ticket, Kim, I put into the questions and answer to yours a link to sign up for the strategy session. So I do it and not one of the people on our team.
Cool.
And you are so welcome, Judy.
Yeah, this is great. And Gina, you can take a look at Paul's. I'm not sure if we need a special link for Paul because I'm not sure where he is with everything. So we need to make sure we take care.
He's good. He knows how to do it.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Terrific. Okay, cool.
And Jack, Paul, for the other workshops, when you go and get the blog systems workshop, the next page it takes you to is to tell you about all of the others, right, Ken?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that page, we literally just finished it about 3 minutes ago. So as you look at that page, don't go into perfection mode. Go into content mode. That's your invitation. And literally, we've been working on that. I mean, because we decided we would offer that to you today. We've literally been working on that during this presentation right now. So.
And Ken, we need to get Judy a special link.
Yeah.
For the workshop, that's fine, but she needs to get the social media workshop offer for associates.
Okay.
She tried to sign up for it, and it didn't go through properly. I just had Shelby research it.
Okay.
So if you could help take care of that for Judy, I want to make sure she doesn't lose out on that just because it didn't work properly.
Not a problem. I'll take care of you, Judy. Judy, do me a favor. Pop in the chat your best email and or phone number, and I'll get back to you within the next 20 minutes or so.
And if I could get you guys to do me a huge favor so I can go talk to my friend from Belize, I want to know what you're taking away from today's call.
Absolutely.
Anybody learn anything? 2.5 hours worth?
Did anybody learn anything? Let's see. See, Kim says, thanks, Gina. Where's the link when I put in ordering? I put in when ordering. Where's the link?
After you order, Ken, you're going to go to bypnow.com/BSW. After you order, it'll take you to the thank you page. When you get done with all of that, then just go to my calendar link. I'll put it in again and set up a strategy session for us to talk.
Yeah. and Kim, if you have any, Gina, what's the support email just in case, because I'm not sure that it's
Admin team at directionsu.com.
okay. If you have any
admin team at directionsu.com.
let's stick that. Shelby, if you're there, you can stick that in the chat. Admin. Oops, I'm going in the wrong place here. Yeah, here we go. Admin.
And we've got one or two takeaways, so let me share a few of them. Joseph says, this is one of the best webinars I've been to in a long time. I will need to go over it many, many times. Lots of platinum nuggets in it. Thank you all, very much appreciated. And the funny thing is, Jack's in one of my other programs, Joseph is in one of my other programs that Jack and I do together called Vortex University. So I'm thrilled to hear that. And Paul says, the best webinars. Thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciate that. What else are you guys taking away? One or two people, just let me know what you're taking away.
Yeah, we want to know.
My favorite part of the call, it's where I get to know if I did my job.
Yeah, it's not, being that it's one of the greatest webinars ever, we love to hear that, but I want to hear specifically, what are you going to do with it? How is it going to improve your life? What's your number one or number two action step from today? That's the takeaway to me.
Great way to ask it.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
That is for me too.
Yeah. I mean, understand we absolutely want you to come to the event. No question. That's one of our big takeaways. And we appreciate that you're doing that. But at the same time, we've given you so much over the past 2.5 hours. We want to know what you can implement. Because frankly, if you don't implement off of this, how are you going to implement off of anything else? So I want to make sure that you really can do some implementation. And I want you to take some action before you get to the event. The sooner you put this into place, the more value you will get from the actual workshop itself. Would you agree, Gina?
Absolutely.
Everyone's being shy right now.
Boy, thanks, guys.
Here we go.
Judy says she knew absolutely nothing about blogging, so this is all new, and she's gotten so much. One thing I'm wondering about is how to apply this to a telesummit, where my opt-in page is really the only website I have for the telesummit. Oh my goodness, Judy, I could go 4 hours just on the answer to that question.
And Judy, she did that to me too. She took me apart when I had that conversation with her. What, 8 months ago, Gina?
Didn't I though?
Oh my God, Judy took me.
You can talk about this from firsthand experience, right? When you do a telesummit, the plan for the summit is that your speakers are going to drive all the traffic for you, right, Ken?
Yep.
How does that work in real life, Ken?
There's one thing to have the concept. The other thing is reality. When you are depending upon other people to take care of you in a joint venture situation, in a promotion situation, you are pipe dreaming. And I hate to say it that way because it's wonderful to teach the concept, but the reality is, and I don't know, Larry, is Larry still here? Larry had the exact same experience. I helped Larry with an event he did similar to that a few years ago. And people promised to mail and promised to promote and did not. So you have to be responsible for doing it yourself. No one's going to do it but you. If they promote, if your speakers promote, God bless them. I love them. But the reality is it's a minority that will do it. It truly is. So this is going to be fundamental
to you.
It is
totally, Judy. I have 3 other students doing telesummits right now, and every one of them are adding the blog system to what they're doing. One of them has already done that, and oh my goodness, she's getting 90% higher rates of people showing up for her summit. And because of what we're doing with the blogging, even the conversions on the summit are improving. First time ever, she's so excited. She's a Passion to Profit student, so Ken knows her too.
Yeah.
And
Judy says,
so
don't say anymore. I want to sleep.
I want to sleep tonight.
Hey,
Judy, so cute.
Judy, it is like, 1 o'clock in the morning for me right now. I want to sleep too, but it's not going to happen.
And Jim says, Jim's been around me for a while, quite a while, in fact. He's a Directions U bachelor student. He's in Vortex University with me and Jack. He's in Passion to Profits with me and Ken. Jim's been around a long time, and he says He always gets something new every time he hears me. He's gotten at least 3 or 4 things from this webinar that he's going to implement in his blog posts to make them even better. Jim's new site is nowinsanfrancisco.com. If you guys want to see the blog system in action, Jim's a great example of it. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I've got to run to another call. This has been so much fun, and I am looking forward to seeing all of you when we do the Blog Systems Workshop, September 21st and 22nd. Grab your seat now, bypnow.com/BSW.
Yep. And
Take care, everybody.
And do it now, guys, because remember that last bonus does not continue past 24 hours from today. So grab it right now, enjoy, and we'll see you at the workshop. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.